the golden couple of morning television. Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos are no strangers to sharing their personal spats with millions of viewers. In fact, part of the fun of watching live with Kelly and Mark is never knowing whether you'll get playful banter, sweet confessions, or the occasional marital showdown. This week, fans got all three rolled into one when Kelly openly called her husband a savage during a heated on-air debate, only for Mark to deliver a clapback that had the audience gasping and laughing in equal measure. The spark that lit the fire at all began innocently enough. The hosts were easing into the morning, chatting about everyday habits that drive couples crazy. Kelly, perched delicately in a sleek dress and heels, leaned forward with a knowing smirk. "Some people," she said, drawing out her words for dramatic effect, "seem to think it's perfectly acceptable to leave cabinet doors wide open. Others," she threw a mock glare toward Mark, "treat the refrigerator like a public display case at a grocery store." Mark didn't flinch. He gave that mischievous half-smile that longtime fans know usually means he's about to fire back. "I'm sorry," he said in a smooth tone, "but some people act like closing a door is a life-or-death mission. Maybe I'm just efficient." The audience laughed. Kelly tilted her head and raised a brow. "Efficient? No, darling, that's not efficiency. That's savagery. You're a savage in our kitchen." Cue the collective ooh from the crowd. Kelly calls him out. The word savage wasn't a slip of the tongue. Kelly repeated it 3 times, each time leaning in a little closer to her husband with exaggerated theatrical flair. "You're a savage when you eat, you're a savage when you cook, and you're a savage when you think no one's watching," she teased, wagging a finger like she was scolding him at home rather than on live television. Mark raised his hands in mock surrender, but the twinkle in his eye said he wasn't backing down. "Oh, really? I'm a savage. At least I don't lecture the toaster oven like it's a misbehaving child. You should see her," he told the audience, turning his body toward them like a comedian addressing the crowd. "She's like, bad toaster. Why can't you just toast evenly?" The studio erupted in laughter. Kelly gasped dramatically, placing a hand over her heart. "Oh no no no. Don't you turn this on me. You are the savage, sir." The clapback. Mark leaned forward, elbows on the table, and locked eyes with his wife in that way that has always made fans swoon. But instead of melting under his gaze, Kelly squared her shoulders. "Ready for battle, Kelly," he said slowly, drawing out her name. "You're calling me a savage because I leave the refrigerator open for 5 seconds. Meanwhile, you hoard condiments like we're preparing for a zombie apocalypse. I counted last week 8 bottles of hot sauce. 8, and that's not savage." The crowd roared. Kelly looked momentarily stunned but quickly composed herself. "Excuse me, but those hot sauces all serve a unique purpose," she replied with a dignified sniff. "Unlike your savagery, which serves none." Mark grinned triumphantly, sensing he had the upper hand. "So we're calling this the Battle of the Condiments now. Fine, but I'm not letting you win this one." Audience reactions by this point. The live studio audience was living for every barb, every smirk, and every exaggerated gasp. Phones whipped out to capture the moment for social media. On Twitter or X, as it's now branded, clips were immediately shared with captions like, "Kelly calling Mark a savage is peak marriage goals." Hashtag Kelly and Mark, clapping back about the hot sauce. "He's not wrong. I would pay to watch these to argue about condiments." Daily. Viewers at home couldn't get enough of the raw, unscripted chemistry that makes the pair so watchable. Kelly's final word, of course. Kelly Ripa is never one to go quietly into defeat. Just as Mark leaned back with a smug grin, Kelly stood up from her chair, hands on hips, playing the role of mock judge and jury. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury," she said, addressing the audience, "you've witnessed firsthand the savagery I endure, but let it be known that I am gracious enough to allow this man to think he's won, when in reality," she paused, giving Mark a piercing look, "we all know the truth." The audience cheered and applauded, giving her the kind of courtroom drama victory she was hoping for. But Mark wasn't about to let her have the final word. He leaned back in his chair and muttered into his mic, just loud enough for everyone to hear. "Savage life forever." Kelly whirled around, pointing at him with mock fury, but she couldn't hide the laughter breaking across her face. Marriage on display makes these moments so magnetic as the balance between playful conflict and genuine affection. Even as they spar, there's never any real malice. Kelly and Mark have been married for nearly 3 decades, and they've raised 3 kids together. They've already weathered storms far more serious than refrigerator doors and hot sauce bottles. Still, their willingness to put their quirks and imperfections on public display makes them relatable in a way few celebrity couples are. They're not just co-hosts. They're partners who laugh, spar, and tease like millions of other couples do behind closed doors. Fans chime in by the time the show ended. Social media was buzzing with takes on who actually won the fight. Some fans sided with Kelly, insisting that leaving cabinets open was indeed a form of savagery. Others thought Mark's hot sauce clapback was unbeatable. One fan wrote, "Mark is right, no one needs 8 bottles of hot sauce. Case closed." Another countered with, "Team Kelly. A savage is a savage." And the defense rests. Even celebrities couldn't resist weighing in. A fellow talk show host posted a clip of the exchange with the caption, "This is why you should never air your kitchen wars on TV. Your spouse will clap back." Behind the scenes, when the cameras stopped rolling, a show insider claimed Kelly and Mark were still chuckling about the spat backstage. "They know exactly what they're doing," the source said. "They push each other's buttons, but always with love. Mark loves to get a rise out of Kelly, and she loves to act like she's scandalized. It's part of their rhythm." The bottom line, whether Kelly truly believes her husband is a savage or whether Mark actually thinks his condiment commentary is a winning argument, hardly matters. What matters is the undeniable spark between them, a spark that turns ordinary domestic squabbles into primetime entertainment. And as for the verdict, well, it depends who you ask. Kelly may have strutted off set with her head held high, convinced she'd scored the last laugh, but Mark's sly grin suggested he wasn't conceding any ground, as one fan summed it up perfectly on social media. "In the Ripa Consuelos household, nobody ever really wins, but the viewers definitely do."